Hey, what's up, my friend? So, in this month's market forecast report for November, I'm going to share with you the best trading setups that I'm looking at right now, my predictions for the market, what's about to happen, and key levels that you must pay attention to. So, one thing is that, this video, I'm doing it right now, is before the so-called fact has occurred, right? So I'm doing it live, right? And I have no idea what's going to happen, right? And I could just jolly well, be wrong in my analysis. And this is something that I have embraced, right? I could be wrong and I'm wrong, about half the time. So this is something that you have to understand and you have to be prepared, right? If you're looking for something that has a high win rate, 90% win rate, then hey, this video, it's not for you. Right, this video is for you if you want to learn how to analyze the price action of the markets, identify favorable risk to reward trading opportunities, then yay, this video is for you. And before we begin, right, if you want to learn more about my trading methodology, go down to my website tradingwithrayner.com and download this ultimate guide to price action trading. Just click this this orange button, right, and I'll send this guide to your inbox. And it's basically learning about price action, market structure, how to time your entries and exits. So today's video will be largely based on the concepts and principles shared in this book, and it's free. Just go to my website and download it. So first thing first, right, let's begin today's analysis. The first market I want to share with you is Aussie Dollar, right? You can see this is the daily time frame, and one thing you notice is that these are the key levels on this market, and the market has actually came into this downward trend line, which is quite close to this area of resistance, but not quite there yet. So it had a slight bounce off this trend line, and it's formed what they call a pin bar, a shooting star. Okay, so what I'm looking for right now is that I'm not going to trade off this candlestick pattern on a daily time frame. What I'm looking for is for the market to tell me that the sellers are in control and about to push price lower. So on the 4-hour time frame is where you can see this price action clearly. So number one, what we have is that the daily time frame, we saw that the trend is down. The second thing I'm looking for right now is to see, right, where the sellers, they are in control and about to push the price lower. And the price action that I'm looking for is this. Is for the market to make a move lower. It did over here. Do a wick pullback, right? This is looking somewhat of a bear flag pattern, small range candle, and then wait for the price to actually break below this low, before I go short. Because if that can happen, right, at this point in time, you have a series of a lower high and a lower low, right, in anticipation that the market would reverse lower and to continue the trend that we had saw earlier on the daily time frame. All right, so this is for Aussie dollar. This is the trade setup that I'm looking for. Basically a trend continuation trade towards the downside. As for targets, right, here's what I'm seeing is that this market, right, this over here is an area of support, a pretty strong one. So for those of you who are looking to capture a swing in the markets, this is a possible area to take something off the table or take your profits, right? So this is quite a large circle, right? Let me just redraw the line. So it'll be somewhere about here, right? Looking to take your profits as a swing trader. Okay, so this is Aussie dollar, a relatively straightforward trade breakdown towards the downside. Sorry, I mean a trend continuation trade towards the downside. Another market that I want to share with you is this, silver. So silver, right, at this point in time, right, the chart, it looks bearish. Okay, but I'm actually, bullish. Why is that, right? So this is where, multiple time frame, right, comes into play. So if you just pay attention and watch me zoom out the charts. Let me just go down to the weekly time frame. You can see that this market previously made a strong decline, right? When it broke down this area of support at about $16, it made a strong decline into $14, which is a key area of support, right? Tested once, twice, and right now it's at this level once again. So now, I don't trade off the weekly time frame. So, I'm not going to trade off the weekly charts, put a buy order or a stop loss based on weekly. What I do is I like to use multiple time frames, right, to better time my entries and exits. And how you can do it is if you look at the daily time frame. Okay, notice that this market is actually forming somewhat of a what we call an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Right? Notice that this is the pattern over here, and it's actually leaning against the support that you've seen on the weekly time frame. So now we have confluence down here, right, showing that hey, this is a possible area where the market could reverse. So couple of ways, right, you can trade this potential setup. Number one, if the market simply does a build up over here, consolidates and breakout, you can look to buy the breakout over here and have your stop loss, right? Let's say if this is happen to be the swing low, you can set it just over here, 1 ATR below this swing low. So let's say this is the swing low, 1 ATR below it's about somewhere here, right? And in anticipation that this, right, could be the reversal move back towards the upside. So that's the first possible setup. Another likely setup, what the market could do is that the market could just break out, okay? And you might have missed the move. Don't worry, right? Because what you can do is to wait for the first pullback, which can appear in the form of a bull flag pattern, right? Where the market retraces, small bodied candles, and it breaks out higher, right? This is where you can go long on the break of the highs, and then have your stop loss again, just 1 ATR below this low. If you do not know what 1 ATR is, right, just simply put, just go down to your indicators, find the average true range, okay, click on it, find out what is this value. Let's say the value is X, right? Then what you'll do is you take the low minus X, and that will be your stop loss. So that's the gist of it. If you want more explanation, I got previous YouTube videos that I've done on it, right? Go check it out and you'll learn how to do it step by step. Okay, so this is for silver. I'm bullish on this. Another market that's worth looking, it's this one over here. It's something that I think a lot of traders are not really mentioning it much, right? But it's Euro Canadian. So if you look at Euro Canadian, right, it's forming somewhat, you notice the price action, right? Notice that it's getting tighter and tighter. If you look at the highs, you just connect the highs, right? And this is the area of support. Notice the range over here is getting tighter and tighter. So one thing about markets is that volatility, it's never static, right? It moves from a period of high volatility to low volatility and back to high volatility again. So right now, if you look at the price action, notice that the volatility of the market, it's declining, right? Just look at the range of this candle, it's getting tighter and tighter. So my take on it is that really, right, it could break up either higher or lower. It's anyone's guess, right? But looking at this price action, right, my guess is that it could possibly break down lower towards the downside, simply because, right, you've got this series of lower highs coming into support, telling you that the selling pressure is really putting pressure on the buyers. So if you notice the buying pressure, right, first time it made a strong rally, second time got slightly weaker, third time even weaker, right? And right now it's just within this tight range, somewhat of a build up over here. So what I'll be looking for is that if Euro Canadian, right, it can consolidate, right, ideally near this lows over here, and if it does break down, I want to go short on the breakdown and just reference this high as my stop loss, right? And to see how much lower this market can go down, because if you just zoom out a little bit, right, the nearest structure, right, that the price may have difficulty going through, it's actually at this area of support over here. Okay, so you can see that from a risk to reward standpoint, there is some meat in this move on Euro Canadian. Okay, and let's see what else I want to share, right? So how about commodity, right? Brent Crude Oil. So Brent Crude Oil, where are you? Okay, Brent Crude Oil. So this one over here, if you look at this chart of Brent Crude Oil, ask yourself, what is the trend? All right, so from the looks of it, right, the long-term trend is towards the upside. It's quite obvious. So again, trend is very time frame specific, because it really depends on what time frame you're looking at or how many candles you're looking at. Because if you zoom in like this, right, what is the trend? You'll say that, hey, the trend is down towards the downside if you just look at this range of candles. So whenever you define the trend, you want to be objective, right? If you're always having 200 bars on the chart, right, look at 200 bars. If you're looking at the daily time frame and you're trading off the daily time frame, then look at the daily time frame. So this is something that you have to be objective about it. If not, your analysis will always go haywire. So for me, okay, I like to just look at the chart and ask myself, what is the long-term trend, right? And from the looks of it, right, the long-term trend is up because you still have this series of higher lows. Okay, these are the major points that I've highlighted over here. Only if the market, right, can take out this area of support, right, like for example it breaks down, right, only then would my bias shift, right, from long to short. Okay, so you always want to have a level in the chart, is what I call the last line of defense, right, where if that level is break, right, it's where your trend bias shifts, right, from, for example, long to short or short to long. So you always want to have this particular level in your chart, right, where I call it the last line of defense. It might not always be possible to look for the last line of defense for every chart, right? But this is always a question at the back of my head every time when I analyze a chart. So for example, now Brent Crude Oil, Okay, you can see that the market now is coming into this area of support, otherwise known as the last line of defense. So I'm not going to just buy in front of this level, right? I want a price to tell me that it's about to reverse higher. So what do I look for? You can look for a couple of things, right? Number one, price comes into this level and it gives you a bullish price rejection where the price just comes into this level and then boom, it reverse higher, closing bullishly. So now you have a price rejection in the markets. You can actually go long and just reference this low as your stop loss in anticipation that the market could reverse higher. So that's option number one. Option number two, right, is where you can use multiple time frames, right? So going down to the 4-hour time frame, you notice that this market right now, clearly, right, the sellers are in control. How do you know that? Well, you just see it as a series of lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. And until the market can break above the previous swing high, right? Only then, right, do I have conviction that, hey, maybe the buyers are in control, right? But if the market makes a series of lower highs and lower lows, there is no way, right, that I'm convinced that, the buyers are here. Because for any trend to reverse, right, like for example, let's say it makes another swing high, right? For any trend to reverse, right, it has to break above the prior swing high. Alright, this is just basic technical analysis, right? Understanding, price action, right? Higher high, higher lows. So applying this concept over here, number one, you know that price is coming into this key area of support on the daily time frame. It's the last line of defense as what I've shared with you. On this 4-hour time frame right now, clearly the sellers are still in control. The buyers have not shown that, I'm coming in. Not yet, right? At least. So what I'll do is that I'll wait. I'll be patient, right? And let the market tilt its hand to me. So for example, what I'm looking for is, let's say the market comes down lower, makes another swing low, right? At this point, let's say somehow or rather the bulls have woken up, right? They break above these highs, right? At this point, right, I don't want to chase the market. So what I usually do is, a couple of things, right? You can either wait for a bull flag, like what I've shared previously, a bull flag pattern. Then the market breaks above these highs. Then you can just go long and reference this low as your stop loss. Alternatively, right, you can actually reference this over here, let the market form a deep pullback, a price rejection, right? And if there's a price rejection at this previous resistance turn support, you can go long at this area over here. So these are a couple of ways to trade it, and it's actually based on the higher time frame picture and based on this higher time frame level that we have seen earlier. Okay, so this is a Brent Crude Oil. I know this is a little bit complex, right? But really, if you really break down the elements, it's nothing complex. It's just, multiple time frames and, looking at wave or trend structure. Okay, so with that said, right, I have come towards the end of today's video. We have talked quite a bit about numerous trading opportunities and key levels and predictions. So number one, right, silver. Let's talk about it, right? Overall, I'm bullish on this silver. Brent Crude Oil, like long-term bullish, but I'm not going to buy right now because I would wait for the price action to, the market to tilt its hand. Aussie Dollar, bearish for now, looking for a short setup. And finally, Euro Canadian, possible breakout towards the upside or downside, right? So I have no idea. I'll let the market show its hand. But from what I shared earlier, right, possibly it could break down lower. Okay, so with that said, I've come towards the end of today's video. If you have enjoyed it, right, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to my YouTube channel so you always stay up to date, and any question, feedback, let me know below and I'll do my best to help. So with that said, I wish you good luck and good trading. I'll talk to you soon.